Hey guys, what is going on? It is Cruz Ave here and I welcome each and every one of you to a brand new tutorial video for our channel, The Guide. And a lot of you have already been asking us in the comments under recent videos to release tutorial videos on defending. And of course, we got you guys, so here's our first FIFA 20 defending tutorial. And what else could it be on than the most important technique in defending, the Jockey Defending. The jockey movement was already important in previous FIFAs, but now in FIFA 20 it's even more crucial that you master this technique because EA nerfed AI defending, and so it's not only harder in general to defend, but also you will get into more one-on-one situations because the game is slowed down and you don't have one or two players constantly to help you out in those spots. And in addition to that, jockey defending not only helps you in one-on-one situations, but also with intercepting passes, getting better positioning in defense in general, and a bunch of other things. And also we will cover the officially implemented fast jockey that's new in FIFA 20 in this video, so a bunch of things to cover. And now let's get right into how to do the jockey defending. The mechanics for the jockey defending are pretty simple. You just have to hold down L2 on PlayStation or LT on Xbox and your player will perform the jockey movement. And what that does, as you can see in the background, is that your player lowers his body weight and also moves in side steps, and so you can move from side to side way faster and you're more agile in your defensive behavior. In addition to that, your defender's direction is locked and so he always looks towards the ball, and that has a big advantage when it comes to increasing the chance of intercepting a pass or going for a successful tackle because you're already focused on the ball and your player has an easier time getting to it. What's now officially implemented in FIFA 20 is the fast jockey, and for that you have to hold down L2 or LT and R2 or RT at the same time, both together, and then you're in the fast jockey. Many people had the impression that this was already possible in the past years, which I agree on, but now it's official and it allows you to move in the jockey much faster because your player moves from side to side quicker and also does some normal steps when closing gaps forward or backwards, and that can be very helpful in certain situations, which I will get into later on. And before we get right into it, I also want to mention that there is a new controller setting for jockeying. You can decide if you want it assisted or manual. We will release a full guide on the controller settings for FIFA 20 as soon as that video is released. It will be linked in the description down below. And our recommendation so far is that you keep the assistance off and defend with jockey manually, because as you can see in the example in the background, if you have the assistance turned on, then your player will slow down a lot when he is in front of the opponent and close to the ball, and that is supposed to make it easier for you to stay in that position. But we found that if the opponent would change directions quickly by cutting inside with a McGeady spin or with a drag back, for example, it would be hard for you to follow in time and you would be stuck in the slow movement, wouldn't be able to change direction and follow the opponent quick enough, and that would lead to conceding goals after one-on-one situations. The first spot in which you want to use the jockey defending is in 1 versus 1 situations. As you can see in the example right here, it's not a classic 1v1 because there are other defenders around, but they are pretty far away, and so Ta is basically the only defender who can stop Hazard from scoring here. And the first thing that you want to do is position in the way that you cut off the dangerous area, which in most cases is the goal, and activate the jockey defending by holding down L2 or LT. In the first moments of this scene there is also the passing opportunity towards Lukaku, which is why positioning Ta a little bit upwards makes sense, but as soon as Lukaku is offside and that opportunity is gone, we're going on towards step number 2, and that is getting closer towards the opponent to put pressure while maintaining the neutral position and not anticipating too far in one direction, because then if the opponent goes the other way he can get past you, and that's exactly the opposite of what you're trying to achieve. So you're going a bit closer and then you're shadowing the opponent's movement and just going with him while he's dribbling, and then in the moment that the opponent is doing a wrong step, maybe does a heavy touch, you can also watch our video on ball contacts for that matter, then it's the time for you to go aggressive and go in with a tackle or bump into the opponent for an automatic trigger tackle and win the ball back. You can also see that in this example right here, first Sterling is going to the left side with a strafe dribbling, so I'm covering it a bit to the left, and then as soon as I see that he tries to juke towards the right, I'm going that way and I'm able to shadow the movement very well here, and that's why in the end I can go for a successful tackling in the moment that the ball is laying away and in the open. It sometimes can be a problem that the opponent is going with higher tempo, like in this example right here, where Rashford is in a sprint duel on the wing against Ramos, and then you're just too slow with the normal jockey. And before, I always used to switch between the jockey defending and sprinting alongside the opponent, but the new fast jockey is definitely something to consider here. So instead of sprinting along the opponent and then waiting for him to try and cut inside and then activate L2, you can just hold down L2 and R2 together, and in many cases you will be able to follow the opponent quicker and get into position, as you can see here with Ramos, and that slows down the attack and Rashford is not able to get past the defender and has to build up around the back again. Also, you can defend against skill moves very well with the jockey, and the key here is to not move forward into the opponent, but to slightly move backwards and let the opponent come to you. It's his job to beat you in the one-on-one and not your job to win the ball back as fast as possible. Take a look at this example here. Ronaldo is coming in with the step overs, a lot of tempo, and then also the scoop turn, and all that you have to do is position with the jockey in the correct way, that you're covering the way towards the goal and not giving Ronaldo an angle towards the short post or far post, and then he basically in the end dribbles into the defender with the scoop turn. You don't even have to press tackle here because your defender will automatically trigger a tackling once the ball is close enough to him, and that in general is a very safe way to win the ball back and get out of these one-on-one situations. Another area of the game where jockey defending is vital is intercepting passes. The general approach here is to sprint into the passing lane towards a good position, and then once you're there, you're activating the jockey movement, because then your player is looking towards the ball and he's also positioned wider, so you have a higher chance of actually intercepting the pass. And also you can continue to cover the different passing options much easier, since your movement is more precise and you can change directions more quickly. You can see that very well in this example right here. There are two passing options available, and in the beginning they can both be covered at the same time, but then they spread out a bit and that makes it harder. In the start it looks like the opponent is going for the player that's positioned more upwards, and that's why we cover there with the jockey movement and make that passing option unavailable. And then as soon as the opponent realizes that and will probably go for the other passing option downwards, we can still change direction quickly, move into there with the jockey and then intercept the pass with ease. If there is a wider space that you have to cover, or you don't want to risk sprinting too far and giving up the passing lane again, you can use the fast jockey by holding down L2R2 or LT-RT together, and that way get into position with more pace while maintaining control, and also move around faster to cover the different options. The last situation where jockey defending is very helpful is when your opponent has multiple options and you have to stay in a good spot with your defender in order to cover most or even all of those options. You can see in this gameplay scene that the opponent is in a very good situation. He has the ball with Kane and he also has a teammate running forward, and so your number one goal in this situation is to move your defender backwards and cover the space behind him, since that's the most dangerous area, while not giving away too much space for Kane to go for a shot or a dribbling, and so you need to be agile, you need to be able to move backwards and still look towards the ball. And the jockey is exactly what you need for that, in this case pulling Azpilicueta a bit backwards and upwards so that the through ball is covered. Kane takes some time on the ball and in this case decides to go for the pass, which then is easily intercepted, but also if he would have run forward immediately, it wouldn't have been a problem to pull your defender downwards a bit more and go into the one-on-one and go for a tackle if the opponent does a mistake, or just to cover first and move backwards and defend both options at the same time still. If you need to move faster with your defender because the space that you're trying to cover is further away or the opponent's player is already moving with a high pace, then once again you can use the fast jockey here. Like in this example with Varane, in the first moment we went pretty aggressive and that's why there is the danger of a through ball towards Rodrigo now, and we're on the same height with him, so we have to move backwards a lot quicker than in the example before, and we also want to cover the short pass at the same time, so we don't want to commit completely to covering the through ball and go too far by sprinting, and that's why the fast jockey is very helpful here. We can move backwards quickly but also cover the short pass, and that leaves the opponent with no options and he has to go for the defensive route of playing the ball backwards again. Now to sum it up, the jockey defending is probably the most important it was ever in FIFA. However, there are different playstyles. Some people like to rush more towards the opponent and go for very aggressive tackles, but that's definitely an advanced strategy and not the right approach for everyone. So I would recommend to you that you use the jockey defending a lot, that you get comfortable with it and have a bit more passive approach, wait for the opponent's mistakes and focus on positioning well so that you have a stable defense. Also, you should mostly use the normal jockey without pressing R2 or RT at the same time, since it's easy to overdo the movement and to get juked by the opponent when you use the faster jockey. I mentioned a few specific situations where it can be helpful. Test it out for you where you feel like it gives a benefit to you, and in all the other spots just go with the normal jockey and you should be fine. That's it for today's video, guys. I hope it helps to improve your defense. If that's the case, we would massively appreciate a like, since it helps out the video and also the channel a lot. If you don't want to miss any further videos, then definitely subscribe to the guide and you will get informed once a new one is released. And also, if you're interested in getting coached by elite top 100 and pro players for FIFA 20 to get better results from the beginning, then check out our coaching website, link is in the description down below. Stay tuned for more videos, I'll better talk to you in the next one. See you then, much love, peace!